The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the SAN and Virtualization Basics webinar. My name is Jeff Rickers. I'll be your presenter. I'm a Senior Technology Architect for Clifton Gunderson Technology Solutions. I'm an MCSE, a CCEA, and a couple of CCAs. The purpose of this webinar really is to give everyone a top-level idea as to exactly what a SAN and virtualization is and how it may potentially work in your environment. So let's go ahead and get started. In a traditional network design, every server has its own role. You have your mail server, your file servers, your database servers. Each of those servers then have their own system drives and data drives. You're now handling redundancy on multiple environments, and a lot of times these servers are actually underutilized, so that you'll see between 5 to 15% of its average capacity through its entire serviceable life. In this type of traditional network design, if one of these servers should fail, now all of your end users have lost all of their access to that environment. So now you're working on trying to recover that hardware, recover it to new hardware, and that takes hours, up to even days to recover. So a much better solution is to instead look at your environments and break out their data from data drives and system drives. You will then look at incorporating them into a SAN. A SAN is a centralized location for data storage. It's a storage area network. You've heard a lot of this terminology. What it does is it basically allows you to consolidate one location for all of your data. So now you have one location where you have to manage redundancy. And also this one location can be expanded as needed. So as your enterprise grows, you can add terabytes and terabytes and terabytes of storage onto this environment. Now a lot of people are concerned saying that, well, since all my data is stored separately, how am I going to share it up? And that's with redundant connections. Every SAN that we recommend for end users all use some form of redundant connection so that there are multiple paths of failure. So if a card fails, a cable fails, a controller on the SAN fails, you're still covered, your end users are still working. So now since we've got our redundant connections, we can actually take our data drives and move them into the SAN environment. Once they are moved into the SAN environment, they're now, again, protected by that. So we have RAID expandability, we have space expandability, and we have full redundant connections to this environment. This is really poignant when a server should happen to fail. So in this scenario, same as before, our file server has gone offline. What we can do is with the SAN, through that redundant connection, is build another connection to that data on another server, in this case our mail server. Now we can provide those files to our end users within minutes of failure, not the hours or days that we were looking at in a traditionalized network design. Now, when you start thinking about virtualization of your servers themselves, all the high-end virtualization software requires a SAN on the back end. The main reason why is because you're not only going to be virtualizing your data disks now, you're also going to be virtualizing your system disks as well. So your system and your data hard drives are all stored centrally in one location. Now, since you are going to have since you're only using 5 to 15% of your server utilization, you're actually able to remove some of the physical servers from your environment. You're also no longer going to have one role tied to each piece of hardware. The hardware you actually manage and maintaining is more a generic environment that multiple environments will be able to run on top of. So this will actually allow you to consolidate your resources. So you're having less servers to manage and maintain. On these actual servers themselves, you will still have your redundant connections to the SAN. But instead of running Windows or Linux or some other operating system on that bare metal, you're actually instead running the hypervisor. The hypervisor is a piece of software that allows you to virtualize multiple virtual machines onto the same piece of hardware. They're each in their own individual sandbox, so they cannot step on each other. They can still interact as necessary. You can even have separate DMZs so that servers can communicate on different networks. Really a lot of full flexibility on here. Let me show you how some of the functionality of this works. You will actually go and start your mail server on your hypervisor, and it's going to boot off of the system and access the data off of the SAN. Pretty much exactly the same as we were doing with the traditional network design. But since this is actually running inside of a hypervisor, there's some advanced technology that can also be run on this. The most primary one people see with virtualization is the ability to motion. What motioning means is that I have users actively using a server, but I need to take this host 1 down for maintenance. What I can do is, with my hypervisor software, is actually motion that running server to another box. Users are still connecting to it. Users don't even notice it was moved. It'll just, now I have an empty box I'm able to take down, place fans, CPUs, memory, expand, whatever is needed, and then motion back when I'm finished. The other thing most of the high-end hypervisors will allow you to do is also something called high availability. What this means is that if I should have some type of hardware failure on my host 1, or someone should happen to pull the power cord so that the server itself just shuts down, the other host server will detect that that main first server has failed and it was running a critical portion of my enterprise. So the hypervisor itself will be intelligent enough to restart that machine on another box, thus bringing you back up and running and keeping your enterprise, again, within seconds, you're back up and running, recovering from a failure. So in conclusion, as you can see, a SAN provides you your quick recovery from failure through redundant connections and a storage growth that will actually grow as your environment needs. There's also the benefits of the hypervisor, which allows you to consolidate servers to less hardware, which is really crucial when you're only looking at between 5 to 15% server utilization. It also allows you to provide the live migration, so you can live move servers from hardware to hardware, and also the ability to automatically restart if your hardware fails. So if there's any more information I can provide for you, feel free to contact me. My name again was Jeff Rickers. My email address is jeff.rickers@cliftoncpa.com, and the phone number you can reach me at is 608-662-7632. I will try and get as many answers to all your questions as I can. Thank you.